So hello everyone, we have a guest today from Silicon Valley, Abdualiyev. He's the founder of Silkroad Innovation Hub. Mr. Asad, welcome to Uzbekistan. So before coming to this podcast, I looked through your biography and read that you left high-profile government job career in Kazakhstan and moved to Silicon Valley to start over. So what was the reason behind this decision?
Hello, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. It's always a pleasure. And to be in Tashkent and to be in Uzbekistan and meet so many friends and partners, so always a pleasure.
That's great.
So yes, indeed, I was working in public service in Kazakhstan. I was working as an advisor to the mayor of Almaty on innovation urban development and deputy CEO of the Silkroad of the Almaty Development Center in 2017. But I didn't come to Silicon Valley right off the bat. I actually got into two universities in the United States. I got into Harvard Kennedy School and the Stanford Business School.
That's great.
So I did my two master's degree, dual degree programs at these two great institutions. I got my master in public administration at the Harvard Kennedy School and master of science in management at the Stanford Business School. And so I came here to study. And that was my kind of transition into the US. And I never had a plan to actually stay in the US. And the plan was to actually, study and then come back and work in the region. But after Stanford, I got an offer to join McKinsey in San Francisco. And I think I was the first Kazakh to join McKinsey office in San Francisco, which is a very prestigious office. So I thought it's a great opportunity for me to stay a little bit and learn. And then I kind of got a job offer to a company called TaskRabbit. It's one of the first US marketplaces, two-sided marketplaces. It does US home services. And that was 2 years of work experience. I led the strategy and growth. And then in 2023, kind of me and Asror, we decided to start Silkroad Innovation Hub. And that was kind of, the turning point for me, I would say.
Okay, so we were in Silkroad Innovation Hub, and this is a place where Central Asian founders connect. This is a super warm place. So what was the reason for founding Silkroad Innovation Hub?
Yes, it's a really good question. So when I came to United States to study, especially when I came to Stanford Business School, what I noticed is that our region wasn't represented at all in Silicon Valley. So very few people actually knew about Central Asia, about Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, kind of Kyrgyzstan, those countries. And that's the first thing. And second thing, there were very few people from our region in Silicon Valley. So there were several students, maybe at Stanford, maybe the total there were maybe 5 or 6 or 7 of us from the Central Asian region. And that's one thing. There were literally no startup founders from our region who were doing something there. Maybe there were 1 or 2, but not a lot. Mostly, and again, not a lot of people were working in big tech, but that was pretty much it. So, and at that point, I kind of felt that we're missing this kind of community that would bring all the professionals from Central Asia, Central Eurasian region that live in Silicon Valley together. Because what is Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley is a combination of smaller communities that live there. So there's like a community, that Indian community, there is a Chinese community, there's a Muslim community, there is a Latin American community, like a Mexican community, Brazilian community. And all these communities are based around ethnic groups, as I mentioned, like countries of origin. Then there are communities that are based on the universities that you go to, like the Stanford community, of course, the biggest, Berkeley, MIT, Harvard, and so on. And there are also professional communities based around companies like alumni of Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so Uber, and so they have formed their own communities. And I think in all this, we were missing our own community that would kind of be run and that could unite people from Central Asia and Central Eurasian region. So that was the kind of move and our decision to start Silkroad Innovation Hub.
That's great. So what is the role of community in getting investment in Silicon Valley?
Yes, community plays a very, very important role. So when you live in your own country, because the whole country is your own kind of community, everyone is literally, a lot of people are same, similar in many facets of life. Whereas when you go to a place like Silicon Valley or the US, you would see that the people are very, very different. And why this community is important? Because community is literally your first stop when you need help. So there are like a big communities where, let's say, Indian community, right? In that community, they have their own great lawyers, investors, engineers, advisors, So people who could actually, the first people you go to when you need help. So that's why by forming this community in Silicon Valley, that was important for us. So we bring together professionals that could help each other, that could benefit each other, and support each other in building great companies and executing their projects.
So, can you tell about the top 3 things founders should pay attention before coming to Silicon Valley? For example, let's say about Central Asian founders.
Of course, there are several things that founders need to pay attention to. And this is what we did at the Silkroad Innovation Hub. We have noticed that every single international founder that came from our region to Silicon Valley, they went through exactly the same process, and everyone went literally from scratch. So we said, okay, how we can bring the people together so people could share information among each other, so we could save time for founders who just came new to Silicon Valley. So what are some mistakes or some important things that people need to pay attention to? First of all, you need to have a proper work visa in the United States.
That's great.
You cannot come to the United States on a tourist visa and start working. You can start doing a startup. Technically you can, but then you'll be violating US immigration law, which you don't want to do. That's why it's really, really important just to make sure you have all the proper documents, all the proper visas, so you could start working on your startup or on your idea. A lot of founders, they think the visa is the easiest part. They think, oh, my idea is the most important thing and I need to get funding and then I'll get my visa. But it's actually not true. So it's very important for founders to kind of figure out the whole visa situation, make sure you have the right work permit. That's first thing. Second thing, of course, setting up a company, right? It's really important to set up the right structure and the right type of company. And there's literally only one structure that you should go for. It's a Delaware C Corp, right? If you're doing a startup. So it's very important for founders to kind of have that kind of company. Second thing is, of course, having a bank account, just to make sure you have a bank account that you could operate. And sometimes it's kind of, sometimes for somebody it can be a bit difficult process, especially when you don't have the US Social Security number. It takes a bit longer. So that's why it's really, really important to get those kind of basics right first. And of course, then the kind of probably the main thing is start building your network in Silicon Valley. A lot of people come, they think that their raw idea and raw talent is enough, which may be enough. But in most cases that we see, it's not enough, because you need to have the kind of community, you need to have that kind of network of people that will support you along your way. Because the raw talent is not enough. You need to have access to venture capitalists. You need to have access to talent pool, the people that you'll hire. You need to have access to future clients, people who will pay for your service. You need to have some media representation. So there are lots of things that you need to kind of build from scratch when you move to the United States.
Do you provide assistance with visa to Central Asian startups, or how they connect to you?
Yeah, of course. So visa, as I mentioned, is the most important part. That's why in our community we have a great company called Alma. So Alma is the company that we invested in. They literally started in the Silkroad Innovation Hub office, and it's now one of the leading startups in legal tech space in the United States, in Silicon Valley especially. So that startup, they specifically focus on helping founders with their talent visas. Talent visas, work visas, green cards, and so on. So that's kind of their bread and butter. And they have 99% approval rate. So if you work with them, you have a very high chance that you get your visa, right visa. And they now served over 500 or 700 kind of startup founders, and many of them were from our community. So that's why whenever founders come, Alma is the first company we refer them to, so they could actually start working on their proper work visas and work documentation.
That's great. So many Central Asian founders, not just founders, want to bring their local success to US. And what kind of challenges will they have in adapting their business, or what should they pay attention?
So as a part of Silkroad Innovation Hub, we have a very unique program, which is called Alchemist Silicon Valley Residency Program. We do this program in partnership with IT Park of Uzbekistan and Astana Hub. and it's operated by Alchemist Accelerator and Silkroad Innovation Hub. So this year we had our second batch, so we bring them every year. This year we had 23 companies from 7 countries.
From seven Central Asian countries, yeah?
From 7 countries, which includes Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Georgia, Mongolia, Singapore, Qatar, and United States. So 7 countries.
Hey, I'm doing great, and I'm really happy to be at the TechCrunch. And for the 3rd year in a row, we are platinum partners of TechCrunch, the most prestigious technology conference in the world, here in San Francisco.
Can you tell about Alchemist training?
Sure. This year, in partnership with IT Park of Uzbekistan, IT Park Ventures, Asana Hub, and Asana Hub Ventures, we have launched the second batch of Alchemist Silicon Valley Residency Program, for which we have accepted 24 startups from the region. 8 of them are from Uzbekistan. Sure. Silkroad Innovation Hub is a unique and the only platform for founders from Central Eurasia here in Silicon Valley. We created the platform 2 years ago, and it serves as like a soft landing spot and a launch pad for founders from Central Eurasia and Uzbekistan that want to come to Silicon Valley, United States, and build their business here. So right now we are at the TechCrunch Disrupt. TechCrunch. So today we have 20 of our startups are exhibiting at TechCrunch. And then we have the historic number of startups from Uzbekistan. 12 startups out of 20 are startups from Uzbekistan, and they're exhibiting here at TechCrunch. So this is a unique opportunity. Startups actually get to showcase their products to a global audience here in San Francisco at the TechCrunch. They meet investors, they meet potential clients, partners, engineers, media, and kind of put themselves out there and test their product. It's very easy to reach us. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, email, our website. So pretty much we're very available. We have many partners in Uzbekistan, of course, IT Park of Uzbekistan being one of them. And of course, the Youth Affairs Agency are our good partners. So we're happy to kind of partner with and support any Uzbek founders. Of course, there are many promising startups from Uzbekistan. Very hard to kind of name a few, so all of them are great, so you should check them out. So there are many challenges for startups, and they're very similar regardless which country you come from. And this is the case for all emerging economies. I think the main challenge is to actually moving to the United States. So to build something in the US, you have to be based here. That's one. Second thing, it's very important to have a work permit, right? So you cannot just come and work in the US. You have to have right legal documents, so that is very important. And third, of course, your product has to have a product market fit here in the US. So yes, this is a challenge not only for Uzbek, but founders from all emerging economies. And through programs at the Silkroad Innovation Hub, we actually help our startups to scale their products and approach the US market from the right angle. So we have several programs. One of them, Alchemist Silicon Valley Residency Program. For this program, we bring B2B startups to Silicon Valley for 4 months. And so they try to scale their products here. We provide housing, we provide office, we provide programming, lots of support. And so this year we have a second batch. We also have a program that we do in partnership with TechCrunch. It's called Road to Battlefield. So if a startup wants to pitch and get a chance to actually come to San Francisco to TechCrunch next year, they could actually apply to that program. That's a second opportunity. Third opportunity, through IT Park of Uzbekistan Astana Hub, we partner with Hero Training at Draper University, and the fourth program through StartX, you can apply to the Stanford University ecosystem.
LLMs or Google Translate. The reason is that the rest languages have a poor digitalization. There are too few quality resources available for them, and despite that, there is a growing market for these languages. So there is a growing need to support these languages. So we decided to create Tenmoch.ai. It means a translator from Uzbek. So it's a high-quality translator for underrepresented languages.
My background was in 3 startups before. Firstly 2 I was CMO, and the third was failed. I don't raise money in Uzbekistan, but I do all my homework, mistake work, and we are here. Now we are here. Yeah, we have valuation only 1 million. Officially, non-officially it's 3 and 5.
About product, we started from our first day in the US market. Now it's more than 2,000 users and 400 plus of them, they upgraded to premium version. Not because we ask it, because they want to continue playing. And there is special design you need to try, because presentation, you cannot feel how is good little chess.
Hi, my name is Amir and I'm a co-founder at Bazaar Market. We're a first Central Asian retail and wholesale e-commerce platform. What we're doing is we're helping the traditional bazaars to go online. We have been noticing that a lot of sellers who sell in markets and bazaars are losing their customers because most of the young and new buyers are shopping online and they're changing their habits in shopping.
We were asking ourselves how we can solve this problem. So we bring with our team together, we developed our platform. It has 3 layers, it's visual. We integrate with existing systems and we give the predictive maintenance that helps to cut down time. We're at the intersection of 3 markets. It's digital twin market, it's predictive maintenance, and industrial AI.
And this program is focused on bringing founders from these countries, from emerging economies to Silicon Valley to start building their to start scaling their startups. And this year we had a record number of applicants from Uzbekistan and a record number of startups from Uzbekistan. So we received over 285 applications in total, and I think 80 of them were from Uzbekistan. And we got 8 companies from Uzbekistan to participate in this program. So in this program, we help founders to find the product market fit and scale their startups to the US market, existing businesses. So what we see, some of the challenges, right? The first challenge, as I mentioned, that the lack of network. So people just don't know, they don't have the network of people that they could rely on, that could help them with the clients, with the traction and so on, which is very important. Investments, very important. Second thing, the challenge that we see is that people don't really understand how to do business in the United States. So there are cultural differences between our region and the United States that people need to be aware of. And and I think the lack of understanding how to do business in the United States, how to build business communications, actually kind of plays a role in their kind of slow adaptation to the United States. That's why it's really important to get those cultural nuances right. And the third thing, rarely and almost never, a startup which worked in Uzbekistan or Tajikistan or Kazakhstan that works in that country that will completely work in the United States. Why? Because the market is very different and the people are very different. Nuances are very different. So that's why very rarely you can take a product from this country and move to the United States. So that's why in that case, founders really need to kind of work on fine-tuning their product or finding out like a specific, maybe a feature in their product that actually kind of would fit the US market.
So you have talked to Uzbek founders as well, and what kind of problems do you see in Uzbek market as well? Let's say in scaling, not problems, challenges, we can say.
So the challenges in the, I don't see major challenges in this market, because we see really, really great talented founders from Uzbekistan, from Central Asia, from Central Eurasian region coming to the United States. I think the main challenge that we see for founders is that founders, it's kind of for some founders, for citizens of the Uzbekistan especially, it's very difficult to get the US visa. So that's why it's really important, there are so many talented people just couldn't get the visa and couldn't come, We had several cases like that when we have a great program, we invite founders from like a top founders from Uzbekistan to come, but they couldn't come because they couldn't get the US visa. So I think that's one of the challenges. And at the same time, there are many opportunities in the region. So we work close with IT Park, and IT Park has so many great programs. Let's say one of them is local to global, that actually would cover for up to 50% of your participation fee in any conference, event, or a program. So, which is a great opportunity, and lots of our founders use actually that opportunity. There are also there's also like a venture fund, Aloka Ventures, IT Park Ventures, Uskat Ventures, like many other VC funds that are based here that actually actively invest in startups, which is great. So lots of great opportunities happening in the country.
Okay. Being in San Francisco, I saw a lot of banners with AI startups. And how do you see AI startups? How AI changing trends in startups?
Yeah. Of course, AI is the major trend. And so recently I participated in the AI forum, the first AI forum that was held in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent. And I think President Mirziyoyev made it very, very clear that AI is the priority for the government, as it's everywhere across the region as well. So President Tokayev in Kazakhstan, gave this very important emphasis on development of AI. So it's happening all over the region, which is great. And why this is important? Because AI is a super cycle, which actually has a potential to change the way how we live. So it will change. It's a very similar, maybe it's even bigger, like when the PC was created, when the internet was created, when the mobile phone was created, and the mobile internet came about. And so in all of those cycles, our lives changed, right? Before we never used PC. Now everyone has a computer. We never had access to information, and thanks to internet, we have information. And now they say that a kid in Africa with an iPhone and internet has access to more information that the president of the United States had in early 90s.
Yeah,
That's kind of it is. That's a fact. How life has changed. The same with like a mobile internet right now, right? So you can call a car, you can get a food, anything. You can search for information, you can do difficult calculations, all on your phone. And with the AI, our lives will change as well, because lots of new companies will emerge. And one of the biggest trends is agentic AI.
Yeah.
Agentic AI is when the agents actually kind of help to make your life, do work for you. Calculations, maybe some tasks they can do for you, and you can actually get your own agent that will kind of help you and make you more effective in that sense. So we see this big trend in the agentic AI that's happening, which is I think really big. And also our region has a big potential in developing AI, because we were late for all of these previous revolutions, and I think now is the perfect time when we are ready to tackle this AI revolution, because we have smart people, we have resources, we have all the infrastructure like IT Park, Astana Hub, venture funds, plus our countries are open to new opportunities, and we can travel to West, to Silicon Valley, and actually kind of try to do some other things. And the fifth, I think that in general population now, young people, they want to become founders. So we have a critical mass of people that want to do great startups. So I think that this is the perfect, these are the perfect ingredients for success in startups. And we actually see this firsthand. Let's say one of the companies is called Higgsfield. We are investors in Higgsfield, and it's a $1 billion unicorn right now based out of Kazakhstan. And it's a great thing. One of their co-founder, Alex, he's ethnically Uzbek.
Yeah.
And another co-founder, Yerzad, he's Kazakh. So we see that that
mix of
two founders. They came for created a company which now is one of the leading AI video generation companies in the world, actually. So they make, I think, over $50 million in revenue.
Yeah.
So it's really, really big and really, really important for the region. And there are many other examples where that kind of shows that people from our region actually have a great potential. Another example, which I always bring up, is Alma, the company which I mentioned. One of their co-founders, Azada, she's Kyrgyz, and Asel is Kazakh. And the third co-founder, Shua, he's Chinese, ethnically. All of them came together, and now this company is doing really, really well, and they're valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's a really big company now at this point. So which I think speaks a lot about the importance of integration in the region, doing great projects, and end up taking the use of this AI super cycle which is happening right now.
That's great. So you told that you have invested to Higgsfield, yes? Investors of Higgsfield. What was the process of getting investment in Silicon Valley? Can you tell more about it?
As a part of the Silkroad Innovation Hub, we have set up an organization called Silkroad Angels Club. Through this club, we invest in startups. In this year alone, we have invested over $1.3 million in startups, and we invest usually in early check startups. And of course, according to Silicon Valley, it's not a lot of money, because there could be rounds. One round could be over like $5-10 million. But for us, what makes us unique, we are investing. We have a group of investors, angel investors, that invest with us. So by doing this, we're trying to develop angel network in our region. So who are the angels? Angels are the kind of usually wealthy people, that better off, well-off people that have money, have resources, and they would like to invest in startups. So angels are pretty much the crucial part of any innovation development in any country. Why? Because they're usually the first they're the first investors that give money to startups, the first ones. And usually they take the highest risk, not even a venture fund. Angels take the highest risk because they risk their own money. So they could be more risky. Yeah. And this is what we were lacking in our countries. So there are very few angel investors in the country. And that's why for us, I think the prerequisite for us to develop a really strong startup ecosystem is we need to have a big number of angel investors, people that will invest in the startups. And through Silkroad Innovation Hub, we're developing this market. So we have around 60 angels in our club, and that are actively investing in startups along with us. And by doing this, we want to develop the angel ecosystem. So we also run training programs where we educate people about the basics of angel investing, VC investing. And we see there's a huge potential that we just need to keep building on. Yes, so when we invest in some companies, we usually our thesis is investing in founders from our region that are doing some big things in Silicon Valley, United States.
Great. So do you have other results of your Angels Club, so successful ones?
So because the Angels Club was created exactly a year ago, so it's still very early, but we have some great startups, like a Hicksville being one of them. And we also invested in a company called Deep Infra. They're now valued over $300 million. It's like a very focused, it's a startup which focuses on optimizing inferencing for AI startups. It's an infrastructure project. Then there's a company called Alma is one of the companies that we invested in. They're a very successful company, over $100 million valuation now. And there's a company called Atarino. There's a company called Perceptis. Some really, really good startups that we invest in, and they're doing pretty well. So we're happy about that.
Okay. So in order to get investment as a partner of Angels Club, you talk to VCs as well. So to what kind of startups do they invest nowadays? Do they have some kind of trend?
Who?
Silicon Valley VC companies, or in the US, it's oral.
Of course, AI now is every company is an AI company, right? So that's why it's AI is kind of given that they invest in AI. But at the same time, what makes VCs different is that VCs are trying. So I think a really good VCs are not trying to follow the herd. They're trying to predict what will happen in 10 years' time. So the best VCs invest in AI before AI was a thing. So people who made the most money, they were investing in AI when blockchain or the Web3 was a thing. Remember, several years ago, everyone was crazy about Web3, and I think people who made the most money, not the ones who are investing in Web3, but the ones who are investing in AI back then, they made the most money, and there are some really, really good funds. So the same thing here. So I think the job of the VC is to really try to predict the future and put your bet in that future. So what could be the trends, next trends? It could be robotics is a big thing. Maybe space exploration is another big thing. Something around biotech, could be a big thing. So there are many different ways, and I think there are just different funds that invest in different things.
Okay. I wanted to ask about the government-backed venture funds itself. So do you have in Kazakhstan such kind of experience? Government-backed or private funds, what are the differences? Do you see government-backed venture funds harmful for the ecosystem?
No, I think it's a good thing. In this region, Central Eurasian region, lots of things are driven by the government, which is I think completely okay, and especially the venture capital space. So the job of the government is to really kind of, yes, I understand like when the government tries to play the venture game, it can become like a little bit dangerous because it's kind of risky by nature. But I think what we see emergence is the emergence of like the VC infrastructure. Let's say the creation of fund of funds. The Kazakh government recently set up something called Kazakhstan Venture Group. It's a $1 billion fund of funds. So instead of investing in startups, this fund of funds will invest in other funds. So they could take risks. And there's like a research on that and statistics on that and many researches on that kind of show that fund of funds model is just much more effective and less risky.
Less risky.
Because you don't take the exact risk by investing in startup, you just invest in the venture fund. And then venture funds invest on your behalf, So I think that's a really good model, which works. And I think maybe setting up a venture fund of funds in Uzbekistan could be one of the next steps that the country could take so the region could have more venture funds, more local GPs that will have expertise. But at the same time, it's very, very important to develop local GP ecosystem. GPs are the people who manage venture funds. Because if you give away all the money to foreigners, like people from overseas, then you'll drain your own market. That's why it's very important to set up, to develop, to give money to local GPs that will invest in local startups. And this is what's happening in Kazakhstan. And I know there are some discussions in Uzbekistan that kind of will focus on setting up a fund of funds as well.
Okay. What's Kazakhstan's experience in venture industry in developing startup ecosystem?
I think it's pretty well. Like Astana Hub plays a huge role.
Yeah, it's
Astana Hub plays a huge role. It's one of the most successful projects, state projects actually in the country right now. And I think the total IT export of the residents of IT Hub is like over $650 million. And I think total revenue of the residents of IT Hub is over like a 1.5 billion now.
That's great.
Annual revenue. So it's a lot of big companies, a lot of tech companies setting up their offices there. And so I think this kind of plays very, very important role. And at the same time, what I like to see, what we kind of see is that the partnership between IT Park of Uzbekistan, which is very similar to Astana Hub and Astana Hub, so they're trying to do more projects together. And one of the examples is the Central Asian Innovation Hubs, where they jointly exhibit at different exhibitions. And I know now there's a program between Astana Hub and IT Park is that when they help Uzbek startups to scale to the Kazakh market and they help Kazakh startups to scale in the US market. So I think there should be more examples like that. And recently, actually, one thing we did a consulting project for one of the governments in the region. And they hired us to help them develop innovation ecosystem strategy. And one of the reasons when asked why you want us Silkroad Innovation Hub to help you, it says because Astana Hub and IT Park very well, and we want to learn from their example and want to use their example and their strategies in setting up our own IT Park or like a ecosystem player. So I think that kind of shows that the examples of IT Park and Astana Hub are actually so successful that other countries want to copy that.
Okay, great. So what do you think about solo founders? Because when we were in TechCrunch, one founder reached us and he just showed his presentation, PPTs. And when I asked about his team, he said, myself, so they have more than 1 million users.
Yeah, of course, now with the emergence of AI, solo founders is becoming a thing because before VCs would not invest in solo founders, and a lot of VCs that would be red flag for them, and they would prefer to see at least 2-3 people on the team. So there's one technical, one business, one maybe operations, and so on. But now with the emergence of AI, with the agentic AI, which I mentioned, because so many things could be automated, like marketing, like maybe some operations work, legal work, accounting, all this things could be automated through agents. That's why right now, and even coding could be automated through different platforms, right? And so right now, I think solo founders could be a next big thing because, as some of the experts say, they soon could be a company, $1 billion company that will be created by one person. And
So it's possible. Yeah.
It's possible. Yeah.
I want to ask, what kind of features should startup founders have in order to achieve success generally? For example, which traits in character?
Of course, I think the biggest thing is to be successful in Silicon Valley or anywhere is to believe in yourself, right? I think this may sound cheesy, but like I think this is really, really important. You know, people have to have this global mindset that people need to have this kind of global mindset where they could kind of have this mentality that they can actually make these things happen, right? That's the first thing. Second thing I think trait is that, go all in. You know, you cannot really have a company in Uzbekistan and then maybe have a company in the United States or like have different projects. It doesn't work, you know. If you want to truly build a big scalable projects in the United States, you need to come to Silicon Valley, and you should dedicate 100% of your time working on that project. You know, sometimes we see founders they have a project in their home economy, then they want to do something in Silicon Valley. They kind of spend half time there, half time there. It doesn't usually work, you know. So it has to be a full-time commitment. And the third thing, if people want to be successful, they need to come to the United States because I think maybe there is no need to. I don't want to say waste time, but maybe there is no need to wait for a good moment, but actually come to the United States and start building right off the bat, you know, for the U.S. market.
But sometimes most part of their team in Uzbekistan or in Central Asia, how they work on this problem?
So this is a really good question. You know, when we created Silkroad Innovation Hub, some people were saying people are questioning, isn't this kind of brain drain that the talented people, smart people actually leave their countries and come to the United States? This is not the case, you know, because what we have noticed several things. First thing, founders that come to the United States and raise money in that market, they send most of the money back to their home economies. Why? Because second reason, most of their team stays in their home country.
Yeah, for this reason.
For this reason specifically, you know, like it doesn't mean that the whole company should move to the United States. No, only one or two person is enough. One or two people are enough in Silicon Valley. Maybe CEO and someone else, like a business development. But the whole technical team actually should stay in the home economy in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, you know, Azerbaijan. Why? Because it's cheaper to live here. It's a very comfortable life. And the third, you know, with the money you get from in the US dollars, you know, you can live like a pretty good life here. You know, and people have family, parents, kids, and so on. So that's why it's a bit difficult to move. So that's why maybe for the most of the team, they should stay in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Really good example is a company called Hicksfield. So
their team also in Kazakhstan.
Only one person, co-founder Alex, lives in Silicon Valley. The rest team, everyone else lives in Almaty, which is actually a very powerful combination.
So, isn't it difficult in terms of communication with the team?
I don't think it's difficult.
Yeah, managing.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's say, like, you know, you can work. I know that the team in Almaty, Hicksfield is a good example, right? As I said, most of their team lives in Almaty. And then when I was talking to their co-founder, like Irzat, he said, like, we pretty much work US time. So they work at night and sleep during the day, you know? So maybe this could be one of the ways. The other way is way around when the co-founder, he spends like, you know, the whole day in Silicon Valley, maybe evenings he or she spends on talking to their team. That's what we do. Because at Silkroad Innovation Hub, we have a team here as well in the region. And so I usually work the full US time, but plus I work half day at least in the evening, usually the night, for the Central Asian time. Okay, so I think this is doable.
Normal thing, yes. Can you name some very famous startups according to the, trendy startups in Silicon Valley nowadays?
I mean, I think anyone...
Or let's say areas, specific areas.
This is a bit... I think this question is a little bit kind of, you know, I won't say difficult, but it's a little bit, will not be very relevant. You know why? Because what's interesting with the AI, things change so fast.
Yeah.
A startup which was relevant 6 months ago may not be relevant like in, today. Why? Because technology changes so fast, and the company which was a sure thing, just goes bankrupt or just goes non-existent. And there are many, many companies like that, like that were created when the AI just came out, you know, they were one of the big companies, but now you never heard of them, most likely. You know, so the companies kind of, you know, go bankrupt or they close and so on. So that's why I don't want to kind of highlight some of the companies except for the big ones that everyone knows, because otherwise this may be, by the time this is out, you know, this may not be so relevant anymore.
Okay, so So let's say what areas for startup founders will be interesting, or not for startup founders, for investors will be interesting in Central Asia. So do they have some kind of misunderstandings about Central Asian startups?
So I think this is the misconception that people think that founders in the US care about where the founder is from. Actually not. Because any founder that comes from overseas are called immigrant founders, right? Immigrant founders. And there's statistics that actually shows that the majority of unicorns in the United States were created by immigrant founders or founding teams.
Yeah.
I think it's more like 80%. When you add founders and founding teams, 80% of unicorns founded by immigrants. So in general, in the US, VCs are very, very open, and they're very eager to invest in immigrant founders. So that's why it's really, really important kind of to play that card, the immigrant card, properly and just reach out to VCs, because they don't care where the founder is actually coming from, be it Uzbekistan, Brazil, South Africa or Japan. So because the statistics shows that the immigrant founders are just much more capable, and they could create some big companies.
Okay, so you told that AI agents are so popular nowadays, but how to get education about AI agents for Central Asian startup founders?
Yeah, of course. There are many programs like that, but many programs where you can learn agentic AI. At the same time, with that in mind, this year we launched the first ever program for with Stanford University for Central Asia, where we taught the AI, the basics and the theory and like the trends in AI. Plus, we had the meetings with OpenAI, Cohere, Perplexity, Amazon, like all the top companies. And we brought 60 business people from Central Asia for that program.
This offline course.
Offline course. But as a feedback, what we have noticed, a lot of people said that, hey, I learned about this, but I want now my deputies, my team learn about this. So in next 2026, we're launching a course with Stanford where we will give an online course about the theory of AI, what's happening. Plus, we'll teach people how to be proficient in using AI in business context. So this program will happen in April and May. And please stay tuned for our announcements in our Instagram account, LinkedIn accounts. And if people want to participate, that program will be exactly focused on using AI in the business settings, which I think is far more important than just using AI for like in daily life.
What is the length of the program? Length of the program?
2-month program.
2 months.
2-month online program with translation into Uzbek, Kazakh, Russian languages.
So you see climate changes in Uzbekistan. What do you think about climate tech startups? Are they famous in the US?
No, climate tech is a big thing. At some point, I think climate tech had its moment when, like in early maybe 2010s, but then it kind of fade away a little bit. The hype didn't live up to actual expectations. So lots of companies went bankrupt. And now I think we see emergence of clean tech, which is happening. More and more companies are paying attention to this. And I think the change happened not because technology has changed, but I think we as people become much more aware of the negative effects of the climate change. And that's why, especially the younger population, I talk to many of them and I see how younger population cares much more about the environment than previous generations, right? So I think they, as future customers, are actually pushing the agenda, and we'll see emergence of many new startups in the clean tech space. And I think one of the great examples is a company called a small company called Tesla. So it's a huge company, and of course, now I think Model 3 officially became the most sold car in the US in like this year or last year, and they even kind of became more popular than Toyotas. So I think this kind of shows that people care about the environment and they want to drive more electric. And now I came to Tashkent and I see so many electric cars, which I think is a great trend.
Okay, that's great. So do you have some recommendations to Uzbek startup founders who has a lack of, who have problems with self-confidence, let's say, in order to go to Silicon Valley?
everything that's needed already exists, in a sense. Like, okay, so let me move by. So my advice to all the Uzbek founders who are on the fence or doubting themselves, that don't doubt and actually start executing. IT Park and the whole region has so many great programs that they should be taking advantage of. And we in the Silkroad Innovation Hub want to support them. We want to support them, and I think the best way for founders is to kind of utilize these programs and that created by IT Park, by Silkroad Innovation Hub, and participate. Participate, immerse yourself in the ecosystem, and become part of our community. And if things go really well and you feel like you want to take this startup globally, please do come to Silicon Valley, to Silkroad Innovation Hub. Our hub is always open, and always open, and we're more than happy to welcome new startups that come from the region.
So nowadays we are launching US Combinator, and Silkroad Innovation Hub will be the partner of our program. So let's talk about this program. How do you see it? What kind of results can be taken?
I think it's a great program because what we need to do, we need to increase the top of the funnel, right? So there are really talented founders that come emerge by themselves, but we really need to have like a kind of bigger funnel where more and more startups participate. And I think US Combinator is exactly that, because Uzbekistan has one of the youngest populations in the world. What's the average age of the population? Uzbekistan, like 25, 27 years old. And I think that's a perfect time to become startup founders, And I think more and more young people should think about setting up their own companies. With the AI, it's become so much easy. And now you don't need to have even a team. One person could become a company, as we discussed. So that's why programs like US Combinator are really, really important to increasing the top of the funnel. So we hope to see more people participating in this program, and we hope to see more startups, kind of great companies creating from there that will trickle down to Silkroad Innovation Hub community in Silicon Valley.
So where do you see the Central Asia's venture ecosystem or startup ecosystem in 5-10 years?
We are very, very bullish on the potential of the Central Eurasian founders. And I think now we're witnessing the early innings, the beginnings of the renaissance of the region. It will happen next 10, 15 years. We'll see some really, really good companies coming out of this region and created by founders from this region in Silicon Valley and globally in general. Because the trend has come, this region has been overlooked for too long. Yeah. And I think now is the time for the region to really kind of strike back and really show its full potential. And we see that there's a right political context right now. All the countries are trying to kind of work together. There's a greater cooperation happening between all of the countries in different forms. And I think the latest C5+1 visit to the United States, where all the presidents came and met with President Trump, I think it kind of shows a desire of the US to have more founders, to do more work with the region. So I think this is a really, really great foundation for building really great companies and really great startups. So when we talk about startups that we would like to invest, our thesis is very simple. We would like to see founders from the region that are actually building something for the US market. And that usually requires them to be in the United States. So we know that they're serious about setting up something there. So that's why, and we're happy to look at any of the startups and maybe provide some advice, and in the best case, actually start investing in them.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. If you have something to add. Okay.
Thank you, Lalo. It's great to be in Tashkent, and it's a great conversation.
Welcome.
And I think this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, we couldn't cover many topics due to the time constraint, but at the same time, I urge all the startups to take advantage of all the opportunities which are kind of created now by the youth agency, by the government, by the IT park, and all of this, not only in Uzbekistan, but also in Kazakhstan, also in Azerbaijan, and some other countries in the region. There are really, really great opportunities happening. And yes, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I'm very active there, checking my accounts personally. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.